Welcome to the Greenland Foundation's YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Enterprise Project Structure, EPS. The Enterprise Project Structure, EPS, is simply a logical, meaningful hierarchy arrangement of all the projects in your organization. That is, it is simply a view of the company's showing its areas of operations. In the EPS, we have the routes, the nodes, and projects. That means the EPS itself comprised of the routes, nodes, and projects. The routes, there is usually only one route which represents the top level of an organization. In other words, it is going to be just only one route and it represents just the top level of an organization. Also, you need to know that a route can be subdivided into many nodes. Nodes represent different levels within the structure, and nodes can contain an unlimited number of projects. In other words, this is where the projects will be stored. So the projects are usually stored in the nodes. Then the projects represent the lowest level of an hierarchy branch. And that also simply means that all projects must be included in a node. So it means that the lowest level of an EPS is the projects, and they must be included in a node. This is the logical and meaningful way of arranging your EPS. Now it's demonstration time. So in the class, we created the EPS in Primavera. And so I'm going to demonstrate that exercise again so that you'll be able to watch the video over and do your own work, and it's also useful for you to practice. To demonstrate this exercise, we are going to need the EPS ID and also the EPS name. So we're going to be creating the root or the top level of an organization, and we're going to call that EPS ID This MSP-program-2022. Then the EPS name will be PC's MSP Training Projects. Remember, I said the routes can be divided into several nodes. So we're going to create another node under this route. I'm going to call that CLP-program-2022. And the EPS name for that is going to be class projects. In the same way, we're also going to create another node, which is PRP-program-2022. And the name for that EPS is going to be it's going to be practice projects. Then finally, we're going to create the third node, which is ASP-program-2022 as the EPS ID, and the EPS name for that is going to be assigned projects. So that means in the course of this training, whenever we are having a project that we are working on in class, or we are to create a project in class, we're going to be creating that in the class project EPS or class project node. Then There's going to be some practice projects as well. Those ones, we're going to create them under the practice projects. And for all your assignments, they're going to go into the assigned projects. So that way it will be easier for us to locate whichever project we want to work on. At this point, I'm going to share my Primavera pieces, and then we're going to go ahead and do the demonstration. So when you open your Primavera, this is what you're going to be seeing. Right now, I'm on my project page. So for me to go and create EPS, which is the assignment that we are giving, I have to be at the EPS page. So to go to the EPS page, from your menus, where you have the file, edit, view, then you come to where it says enterprise. Click on enterprise, and then from there, you're going to go to enterprise project structure. When you click on that, it's going to pull up the enterprise project structure, which is also the EPS dialog box for you. So at this point in time, this is where we're going to start to create our EPS. So I will come to the top level, which in this case represents the roots. Select that, and for me to create the very first EPS root that we want to create, which is the P6 MSP program 2022, I will click on the add button on the right hand side. When I click on the add button, it's going to add a new EPS right below the enterprise. If you notice, the moment you add the EPS on the EPS dialog box, the same thing is going to appear right here in the project page. So at this point right here, I'm going to enter the EPS ID in this column, and the EPS ID is P6 MSP program 2020. Now I'm going to type here P6 MSP program 2022. Then with that, I can tab or click on the EPS name column, and the name for that is P6 MSP training projects. So I'm going to type P6 MSP training projects. So I've done the first step. Now I'm going to create the other 3 nodes under this root that I've created. Okay, to do that, while still highlighting the first one that we just created, which is the root, I'm going to come here and click on add. Now when I click on add, you notice that it went above the one that we created earlier, but that's not what I want to do. I want it to be a node to this. So what I will do is I will come to the right hand side where you see these arrows. So I'm going to use this arrow to move it accordingly. Now move the arrow down 1 step. Now I have it under the one I created earlier. But if you notice, they are both on the same level. That's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that it's indented so that it will be like a sub to this one. So I use my right hand arrow and shift it to the right. So if you notice, the moment you shift it to the right, on your project page, it's appearing the same way, but in a different color, which is telling you now that it is now a node. to the one that we created earlier. So what I need to do is to go ahead and type in the EPS ID and the EPS name. So according to what we are doing, the EPS ID is CLP-program-2022. That's what I'm going to type here. CLP-program-2022. Then I'll type to the EPS name, and the EPS name we are told is plus projects. So I'm going to type here plus projects. So the same way I've added the first one, I'm going to go ahead and add the next one. So I click on the plus button. Again, it went up, so I use my down arrow to shift it down. So it's going to be arranged the way I want it to be arranged. Now at this point, I'm going to type in my EPS ID, the second one, which is PRP-program-2022. And I've also input in the EPS name, which is practice projects. So right here, I'm going to type PRP-program-2022, and the EPS name is practice projects. So I'll go ahead and have the last one. Again, it went above it. I'm going to use my shift down button to move it down 2 steps. Now I go ahead and input in the EPS ID and the EPS name as indicated. So the EPS ID is ASP-program-2022, and the EPS name is assign projects. So now that I'm done, I've created the rows, and I've also created the nodes for each one of them. And that's exactly the way it's appearing in my project page. Now I will close the dialog box, and I've completed the demonstration that we did in class. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, hope to see you in the next class. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for being part of this teaching. We hope this video has been very helpful to you. Just a reminder that this is one of the videos in this series, and all the videos are available on this YouTube channel. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section. If you find this video helpful and you're yet to subscribe to our channel, kindly do so by clicking on the subscription button to afford yourself easy access to more videos that are constantly being loaded for the purpose of enhancing your careers. Are you interested in taking the full course for this training? Please visit our website at www.greenlandfoundations.com. You can reach us via email info@greenlandfoundations.com or glandfoundations@gmail.com, as well as communicate with us via phone, text messages, or WhatsApp at area code 281-772-0211. We have live online and remote classes for the following: Primavera P6, Microsoft Project, Microsoft Office Tools, Project Management Professionals, Basic Computer Training, and many more.